The Russian leadership has intensified its rhetoric regarding the war in Ukraine. During a recent meeting with government officials on June 4th, President Vladimir Putin and other high-ranking figures revealed their stance, supposing that negotiations with Kiev are at risk. The head of Russia's negotiating delegation, Medinsky, claimed that while Ukraine initially agreed to discuss a ceasefire, Zelensky later rejected the proposal, reinforcing Moscow's assertion that Kiev is not genuinely interested in peace. Kiev prefers prolonging the conflict rather than seeking a resolution. Putin echoed these sentiments following Kiev's recent terrorist attacks on railways in Russia's Bryansk and Kursk regions, aimed at disrupting negotiations. Talks with the Ukrainian leadership are senseless as long as terrorist attacks on civilians continue. Today, in the face of enormous losses, retreating along the entire front trying to intimidate Russia, the Kiev leadership has resorted to organizing terrorist acts. At the same time, they ask to suspend hostilities for 30 or even 60 days. They ask for a high-level meeting, but such meetings are not possible under these conditions, Putin said. The Russian leader condemned Ukraine's leadership, questioning their legitimacy as negotiating partners. Zelensky's government is prioritizing power over the lives of civilians, repeatedly rejecting humanitarian pauses. Despite these harsh accusations, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov maintained that diplomatic channels should remain open, despite skepticism about Ukraine's willingness to engage in good-faith discussions. Ukraine pays for its terrorist regime with defeats on the battlefield, while Moscow is restoring relations with Washington. Donald Trump confirmed his call with Vladimir Putin, discussing Ukrainian attacks on Russia. Trump noted Putin's warning of retaliation for attacks on long-range aviation. Threatened by the upcoming revenge, Zelensky criticized Trump for the call, accusing him of enabling Putin by not taking a harder stance. He claimed Trump allegedly shared blame for any Russian retaliation. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy warned citizens in Ukraine of potential Russian strikes. On the battlefield, the Ukrainian military keeps paying for its reckless leadership. The Russian army is developing an offensive in the Sumy region, claiming the liberation of Kondrativka while expanding the buffer zone along the border. Ukrainian attempts to counterattack on the Donbas front were repelled with significant losses in manpower and armored vehicles. Pounded by massive Russian strikes in the rear regions, the Ukrainians intensified attacks on Russian-controlled territories, with coordinated strikes again targeting energy infrastructure in the Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions. These strikes have left hundreds of households without power, exacerbating humanitarian challenges in areas. The combination of military escalation and diplomatic deadlock suggests that a negotiated settlement remains unlikely in the near term. As both sides continue to exchange accusations and intensify operations, the conflict shows no signs of de-escalation.